My sister abandoned her infant at my doorstep, then vanished. My parents declared, "That child is your burden now." A decade later, they sued for custody, asserting I kept them separate. Yet when I presented the judge a sealed envelope, his eyes widened. He then inquired, "Do they even realize what you possess?" I merely nodded, prepared to speak. Can you imagine the look on their faces when the judge, her eyes wide, asked, "Do they even know what you have?" I just nodded. Because in that very moment, the decade of lies, of betrayal, and of the purest love I'd ever known was finally about to be laid bare. This isn't just my story, Natalie's story. It's about what you do when the world tries to take the child of your heart from you. 10 years ago, my life was, well, perfect. I was 24, a pediatric nurse at Memorial, just promoted to head nurse, and in a steady 2-year relationship with Mark. We were talking about moving in together, marriage even. Everything was falling into place, exactly as I'd planned. Then, one rainy Tuesday night in October, the doorbell rang. I'd just gotten home from a brutal 12-hour shift. Glass of wine, takeout, shoes kicked off. Pure bliss. The doorbell rang at 9:30. I almost ignored it, thinking it was a delivery gone wrong. But it rang again, more insistent this time. Reluctantly, I got up. What I found on my welcome mat changed my entire existence. A car seat, covered with a thin blanket, shielding it from the drizzle. My hands trembled as I pulled the blanket back. Inside, a tiny 3-month-old baby girl. Rosy cheeks, a wisp of dark hair, so much like my sister Amanda. Tucked beside her was a crumpled note, in Amanda's familiar scrawl. Her name is Lily. I cannot do this. Take care of her. I am sorry. That was it. 7 words. 7 words that shattered my perfect timeline. I looked up and down the street. Nothing. Amanda was gone. I called her cell, straight to voicemail. My hands shaking, I brought Lily inside. She was sleeping peacefully, utterly unaware her own mother had just abandoned her. My first call after Amanda's voicemail? My parents. Their response, it still makes my stomach churn. "We told her not to have that baby," my mother said, her voice like ice. "She made her choice, now she's running from it." Typical Amanda. Panic was rising in my throat. But what do? I can't just keep a baby. I don't know anything about infants. That's when my father, so firm, so cutting, dropped the bomb. "She's your burden now. We're done cleaning up after Amanda. We're too old for this. She left her with me, not you." I practically screamed. "She's your granddaughter. And we never asked to be grandparents," my mother shot back. "Especially not to the child of whatever random man Amanda hooked up with." They hung up. Just like that. Refused to come over. Refused to help. I sat on the couch, staring at this tiny, innocent bundle, utterly overwhelmed. Lily woke then, her face scrunching into a hungry cry. I had nothing. No formula, no diapers. My apartment, my perfectly ordered life, had no room for this. I called Mark, desperate. Maybe he could bring supplies. His reaction was almost as shocking as my parents'. "A baby? Your sister just dumped her kid on you? Natalie, that's insane. You need to call social services." "I can't just call social services in the middle of the night. She's my niece. Can you please just go to the 24-hour store?" "This is not our problem," he said, his voice hard. "This is exactly the kind of drama your sister always creates. Don't get pulled into it." I hung up, a cold realization dawning on me. I was completely, utterly alone. I drove to the nearest 24-hour supermarket, still in my scrubs, Lily in the car seat beside me. I wandered the baby aisles, frantically Googling formula for 3-month-old. A kind elderly woman working the night shift, her eyes full of concern, helped me. That first night was a blur, crying, diaper changes, trying to get formula temperature just right. I called work the next morning, asked for emergency family leave. My supervisor, knowing my work ethic, granted me 2 weeks. I filed a police report, but they weren't concerned. No crime, they said. Amanda wasn't missing, she'd chosen to leave. They took my information, but warned me not to expect much. A family lawyer explained I'd need temporary guardianship, a long, expensive process. Those first days were a fog of conflicting emotions. Furious at Amanda. For abandoning her child, for disappearing. But every time I looked at Lily, those tiny fingers, those trusting eyes, my anger melted into a fierce, protective love. She was innocent. Completely dependent. That first night, I made a makeshift crib from a drawer, lined with blankets, and slept on the couch beside her. Every few hours, her hungry cries. As I fed her in the quiet darkness, watching her tiny face relax, I whispered, a promise. A promise I've kept for a decade. I don't know what happened with your mom, but I'm here now. I will figure this out. You're safe with me. Within 2 weeks, it was clear Amanda wasn't coming back. My one-bedroom apartment was too small. I found a 2-bedroom closer to the hospital, stretching my budget to breaking point. Moving costs, baby furniture, reduced work hours, my savings were decimated. But I had to create stability for Lily. Becoming an instant mother? Nothing like I imagined. No preparation, no books, no nursery. I learned through pure necessity, often calling the pediatric nurses I worked with for advice. My nursing background helped with the medical stuff, but the emotional and logistical chaos of suddenly parenting alone? Nothing could prepare you. My career advancement, something I'd worked so hard for, was on indefinite hold. The legal process for guardianship was grueling. Paperwork, evaluators, hearings. Without Amanda there to formally transfer custody, everything took twice as long. Fingerprinted, home inspected, my entire life scrutinized. Was I fit to care for my own niece? And Mark? Our relationship disintegrated. His reluctance to help turned into resentment. I didn't sign up to date a single mom, he'd say during our constant arguments. We had plans, Natalie. Travel, buying a house, our careers. Life happens, Mark, I told him. Plans change. What was I supposed to do? Put her in foster care. Maybe that would have been better for everyone, he muttered. That was it. I packed his things and told him not to contact me again. Losing him hurt, but not as much as his suggestion that I should have abandoned Lily. His true character revealed itself, and I was better off knowing. My parents? Rare, brief, critical visits. My mother would look at my apartment with thinly veiled disapproval, comment on how tired I looked, how cluttered it was. She'd hold Lily awkwardly, as if she might break. Never offered to change a diaper or give a bottle. You're letting her cry too much, she'd say. But I suppose you don't know any better. My father rarely engaged, standing in the doorway, arms crossed, watching as if it were a disaster he was forced to witness. Has anyone heard from Amanda? He'd ask, his voice tight with anger. That was the only time he showed emotion. If I had, you'd be the first to know, I'd reply a lie. They'd written off both their daughters and their granddaughter in one phone call. But I found support elsewhere. My coworkers threw a baby shower. Mrs. Santiago, my neighbor, became a surrogate grandmother, offering to watch Lily, teaching me her secret for colicky babies. Around Lily's 3rd month with me, I hired a private investigator with money I couldn't really spare. He found a trail, Amanda working at a restaurant in San Diego for a few weeks, then nothing. A relief to know she was alive, a heartbreak that she was choosing to stay away. Despite the chaos, Lily thrived. She rolled, sat, crawled, spoke her first word, Nana. Each milestone was celebrated, photos and videos carefully stored. A memory box for her future, holding her few baby items and Amanda's note. Lily's first birthday wasn't elaborate, but it was full of love. Mrs. Santiago made a cake, friends brought balloons. Lily smashed frosting everywhere, everyone cheered. My parents declined, citing prior commitments. That night, tucking Lily into her proper crib, her own room decorated with second-hand treasures, I realized something profound. Despite the hardship, the stress, the sacrifice, I couldn't imagine life without her. This child, who arrived as a responsibility, was now the center of my world. I wasn't just caring for her out of obligation. I loved her fiercely, completely, as if she'd been mine from the beginning. Happy birthday, sweet girl, I whispered, kissing her forehead. We made it through our first year. Here's to many more. 5 years flashed by. Lily started kindergarten. Our mornings were a choreographed dance. Nana, is today library day? Can I wear my star shoes? Will you make pancakes with blueberry smiles? I became a school nurse, family-friendly hours, holidays off. My career ambitions shifted from hospital hierarchy to stability for our little family of 2. Our apartment became a home, covered in her art, photos of our journey. Lily blossomed, curious, resilient, creative. Building elaborate worlds, inventing stories. We had our traditions, Friday movie nights, Sunday park visits. These simple rituals anchored us. As she grew, her questions about her origins became more frequent. I was always honest in age-appropriate ways. Her mother was my sister, not ready to be a mommy. Where is she now, she'd ask. I don't know exactly, sweetheart, but she made sure you came to me because she knew I'd love you very much. Will she ever come back? I don't know that either. But no matter what, you and I are a family. I even made a storybook explaining different family structures. Some kids live with an aunt who loves them more than anything in the world. My parents maintained their distance, visiting 3 or 4 times a year, always critical. My mother would bring inappropriate gifts, showing how little she knew Lily. She should be in ballet by now, she'd comment, bringing another tutu for a child who preferred dinosaurs. My father remained emotionally distant. Lily, perceptive, would grow quiet during their visits, her exuberance dimmed. My personal life? On hold. Dating as a single mom, in my unique situation, felt impossible. I chose to focus on Lily. Our support network, though, continued to grow. A single parents group, shared meals with friends. Financial stability was a struggle. I took a second job, telehealth nursing after Lily was asleep, to build her college fund. Less sleep, tight budgeting, but the growing savings gave me peace of mind. After years, we took our first real vacation, Disney World. Watching her face light up made every sacrifice worth it. Her artistic talents emerged, and I encouraged them with art supplies and museum visits. As Lily's 5-year anniversary with me approached, I reflected. My apartment filled with children's books, my fridge with spelling tests, my schedule around school events. None of it resembled the life I'd planned. Yet, I couldn't imagine wanting anything different. I kept letters I'd written to Amanda, never sent, documenting Lily's milestones. I wondered if Amanda ever thought about the daughter she'd left behind. Look what I made for you, Nana. Lily interrupted my thoughts, running into the kitchen, holding a drawing, 2 figures, one tall, one small, inside a big red heart. That's beautiful, sweetie, I said, pulling her into a hug. Is that us? Yes, that's you and me inside a heart, because we're a heart family, not a blood family. Miss Peterson said some families are made from blood, and some are made from heart, and heart families are just as real. Miss Peterson is very wise, I said, blinking back tears. We are definitely a heart family. And that's the best kind. Lily declared with the absolute certainty only a 5-year-old can possess. I hung it on the fridge, a reminder of what we'd built. For more years. A comfortable rhythm. Lily was 9, thriving in 4th grade. Art and science, good friends. The phone call came on an ordinary Tuesday evening. An unknown number. Instinct made me answer. Hello, Natalie. It's Amanda. Her voice hesitant, familiar, yet strange after so many years. My hand tightened on the phone. I stepped into my bedroom, away from Lily's curious eyes. Amanda, where are you? Are you okay? I'm fine. I'm actually in town. I was hoping we could meet. I spent the night alternating between anxiety, anger, and a strange relief. I told Lily I had a doctor's appointment, hating the lie, but I needed to understand Amanda's situation first. The woman who walked into the cafe was almost unrecognizable. Amanda was 32, sophisticated. Tailored blazer, expensive handbag. She looked healthy, put together, worlds away from the overwhelmed young mother who'd left her baby. You look good, she said. Really good. You too, I replied, searching her face. You seem well. I am, she said, twisting her hands nervously. I've been sober for 7 years. I completed rehab, got my degree in graphic design, and I'm married to a wonderful man named Thomas. She told me a story of recovery, redemption. After leaving Lily, she'd spiraled further into addiction, hit rock bottom, found rehab. Met Thomas, a counselor. They married. No children of their own. I wasn't fit to be a mother then, she admitted. I was using heavily during my pregnancy. When Lily seemed okay, I thought I could handle it. But the postpartum depression hit hard, and I went back to using. The night I brought her to you, I'd been using for days. I knew I was going to hurt her if I kept her. Leaving her with you was the only good decision I made. I showed her photos of the childhood she'd missed. Lily's first steps, first day of school, birthday parties, Halloween costumes. Amanda wiped away tears. She's beautiful, she whispered. So beautiful and clearly happy. You've done an amazing job, Natalie. My emotions were chaotic, old anger, new cautious hope. Maybe Lily could have a relationship with her birth mother. We talked for hours. I'd like to meet her, Amanda said finally. If you think that would be okay. After careful consideration and consulting a child psychologist, I arranged their first meeting at a children's museum. I prepared Lily, explaining her birth mother had been sick, was better now, wanted to meet her. I stressed nothing would change about our life. Lily was uncharacteristically shy. Hello, Lily, Amanda said softly. I've been looking forward to meeting you. Hi, Lily replied, half hiding behind me. Nana says you're her sister. That's right. And I'm also your birth mother, which means you grew in my tummy before you were born. Lily nodded solemnly. But Nana is my real mom because she takes care of me and loves me and helps me with homework and makes me soup when I'm sick. Amanda's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled bravely. That's absolutely right. You are very lucky to have such a wonderful mom. Over the next months, Amanda became a cautious presence. Supervised visits, gradually increasing time. She was respectful, never pushing. Thoughtful gifts. Then, after about 6 months, a bombshell. She and Thomas were moving permanently to our city. She'd accepted a job at a design firm, bought a house 20 minutes away. We want to be closer to Lily, she explained. To be a regular part of her life. Warning bells rang, but I pushed them aside. This could be positive for Lily, right? I invited them to dinner. Thomas was charming, engaging. But something felt off. His responses too perfect, the way he watched Amanda as if monitoring her. The other shoe dropped during dessert. We've been thinking, Amanda said, glancing at Thomas for encouragement. Now that we're settled and financially stable, I'd like to be Lily's mother again. Legally, I mean. My fork clattered against my plate. What exactly are you saying? We think it would be best for Lily to live with us, Thomas interjected smoothly. Of course, you'd have liberal visitation. You've done an amazing job raising her, Natalie. But a child belongs with her mother when possible. I am her mother, I said, my voice low to avoid alerting Lily, who was showing Thomas her art supplies in the living room. I've been her mother for 10 years while you were nowhere to be found. Biologically, I am her mother, Amanda countered. And I'm in a much better position now to provide for her. You're in a tiny apartment, working 2 jobs. We have a house with a yard, a top school district. Thomas makes 6 figures. She could have her own room, a college fund, vacations, everything children should have. She already has everything she needs, I said, struggling to keep my voice steady. Including stability and security with the only parent she has ever known. The conversation ended uneasily. After they left, I sat in stunned silence. I had naively believed Amanda wanted to be a supportive presence, not replace me. The threat to everything I'd built with Lily, it was terrifying. Then, my parents called. Requested Sunday dinner, including Lily. When we arrived, Amanda and Thomas were already there, looking comfortable. Your sister has told us everything, my father said after an uncomfortable meal, my mother fussing over Amanda like she was the prodigal daughter. About her recovery, her marriage, her desire to be a proper mother to Lily. She's turned her life around, my mother added. We're so proud of her. You've been in contact with her? I asked, pieces falling into place. For how long? My parents exchanged glances. We reconnected about 3 years ago, my father admitted. Amanda reached out when she completed her rehabilitation. 3 years. I repeated numbly. You've known where she was for 3 years and never told me? She asked us not to, my mother said defensively. She wanted to get herself together first. And now that she has, my father continued, we think it makes sense for Lily to be with her real mother. Amanda and Thomas can provide a traditional family environment. You've done your part, Natalie. But it's time to do what's best for Lily. Blood is blood. My mother nodded. She deserves to be with her actual mother. The betrayal cut deep. Not only had Amanda returned to take Lily, but my parents had been supporting this plan for years, all while continuing their cold, critical visits to us. We're leaving, I said, standing abruptly. Lily, coat on, please. But we haven't had dessert. Lily protested, confused by the tension. We'll get ice cream on the way home, I promised, avoiding eye contact with my family. As we drove, Lily was quiet. Nana, she finally said, her voice small. Grandma said I might go live with Aunt Amanda and Uncle Thomas. Is that true? My heart broke at the anxiety in her voice. No, sweetie. You live with me. This is your home. But she said Aunt Amanda is my real mom, and I should be with her. I pulled the car over, unbuckled my seatbelt, and turned to face her fully. Listen to me, Lily. You and I are a family. We have been since the day you came to me. Nothing is going to change that. I promise you. Her bottom lip trembled. Cross your heart. Cross my heart, I said firmly, making the gesture that sealed all our important promises. No one is going to take you away from me. That night, after Lily finally fell asleep, I found her thrashing in a nightmare, calling out, no, no, don't take me. As I held her, soothing her back to sleep, a cold determination settled in my chest. I would fight, with everything I had, to keep my promise to her. The certified letter arrived 3 weeks later. Formal language, disguising a bomb. Amanda was petitioning for restoration of parental rights and custody of Lily. Court date in 30 days. Each legal term felt like a physical blow. Biological parent, termination of guardianship, best interests of the minor child. The words swam before my eyes. Our life, dismantled by a judge who knew nothing about our bond, our love. I emptied my savings, took out a loan, to pay the retainer for Julia Hernandez, a family law attorney. Her office was warm, but professional. I won't sugarcoat this, Julia said. Biological parents have strong rights. However, the length of time you've been Lily's caregiver and the circumstances of the abandonment work in your favor. 10 years is practically Lily's entire life. Judges are reluctant to disrupt a child's stable environment. We built our strategy on documentation. School records, medical records, letters from teachers, neighbors, friends. All proving the loving home we created. Then Amanda's attorney's documents arrived. And I discovered something that sent me reeling. My parents had provided affidavits supporting Amanda's petition, making claims that stunned me with their dishonesty. My mother claimed I'd manipulated the situation, alienated Lily. My father claimed I'd refused visitation. Both painted Amanda as a young mother who made a mistake and deserved a second chance. This is completely false. I told Julia, my hands shaking. They visited only when it suited them, were critical, and knew where Amanda was for years. Family custody battles often bring out the worst in people, Julia said gently. But these statements can be refuted. Do you have records of your interactions? I did. Emails, texts, documenting canceled visits, critical comments. I never imagined they'd be evidence in a custody battle. The stress started affecting Lily. Trouble sleeping, clingy before school, grades slipping. Her teacher called. Lily had burst into tears when another child talked about moving. I arranged for a child psychologist. Lily exhibits significant anxiety about potential separation, the psychologist reported. Forcing a custody change could result in significant emotional trauma. I rehired my private investigator. Asked him to look into Amanda and Thomas's perfect life. His initial findings were concerning. Thomas had a history that hadn't been disclosed, including a domestic violence charge that was dismissed under unclear circumstances. The discovery process was grueling. Amanda's attorney requested documentation of my finances, work, even my dating life. Trying to paint me as too busy, too poor, too distracted. Each demand felt like an invasion, forcing me to justify our life to strangers. Explaining the court case to Lily was one of the hardest conversations of my life. The judge has to listen to everyone and make a decision about what's best for you, I explained, sitting on her bed. Aunt Amanda wants you to live with her. And I want you to continue living with me. The judge will decide. But I want to stay with you. Lily cried, her eyes filling. Why does a judge get to choose my mom? I already chose you. I know, sweetheart, I said, pulling her close. And I chose you too. We're going to tell the judge that. And I will do everything I can to make sure we stay together. Will I have to talk to the judge? She whispered, scared. Maybe, I admitted. But if you do, I'll be right there. And you just have to tell the truth about how you feel. I'm scared, she whispered. Me too, I admitted. But being scared is okay. Sometimes we'll be scared together, and we'll get through this together. Just like we've gotten through everything else. As the court date approached, I tried to maintain normalcy for Lily. Friday movie nights, Sunday park visits. But inside, I twisted with anxiety. The timing of Amanda's return, exactly 10 years, felt suspicious. I mentioned it to the PI. That does seem convenient, he agreed. Let me look into whether anything changes legally at the 10-year mark. 2 days later, he called. We need to meet. I've found something significant. He arrived with a folder, waiting until Lily was watching TV. Your sister's husband has been systematically searching for your niece's biological father, he explained, pointing to social media searches, database inquiries. Based on the timing, it appears they located him approximately 6 months ago, just before they contacted you. Why would they be looking for Lily's father? Amanda never even told me who he was. Because of this, he said, pointing to another document. The man they identified, Jason Reynolds, inherited a significant sum from his grandfather last year. We're talking multiple millions. If Amanda regains custody and establishes paternity, she could claim substantial child support retroactively, plus secure future financial benefits for Lily that they would control. The pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. Amanda's sudden interest. The perfectly timed reappearance. The convenient redemption story. The expensive lawyer. It wasn't about wanting Lily back at all. It was about money. Can you document all of this? I asked, my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. Already done, he replied, tapping the folder. Along with evidence contradicting several claims in their court filings. Thomas's business is struggling, not thriving. Their perfect house is mortgaged to the hilt. And most importantly, I have documented evidence of your parents' knowledge of Amanda's whereabouts for years, directly contradicting their sworn statements. I compiled it all into a sealed folder. When Julia reviewed it, her professional demeanor cracked. This changes everything, she said. The judge needs to see this. The courthouse felt imposing. I wore my navy suit, aiming for stability. Lily was with her art teacher, spared the tension. Amanda and Thomas sat across the aisle, immaculately dressed, Amanda in a floral dress, Thomas in a tailored suit. My parents sat behind them, my mother clutching her purse, my father staring ahead, jaw set. Judge Harmon, silver-haired, glasses perched on her nose, called court to order. The court's primary concern is the best interest of the child, she stated firmly. Amanda testified first. A compelling story of youthful mistakes, hard-won sobriety, maternal longing. She wept at appropriate moments, describing her regret, her desire to make up for lost time. I want to give her the life she deserves, with a mother and father who can provide everything she needs. Thomas followed, polished testimony. Their 4-bedroom house, excellent school district, his financial ability. We can offer Lily stability, a traditional family environment, and opportunities that simply are not possible in her current situation, he said confidently. While we respect what Natalie has done, we believe Lily belongs with her mother and in our home. My parents testified next, reinforcing Amanda's narrative. My mother spoke of her joy at Amanda's recovery, claiming I was resistant to family gatherings, deliberately keeping Lily separate. Natalie has always been stubborn, she sighed. Once she decided Lily was hers, she shut out the rest of the family. We tried to be involved, but she made it so difficult. My father's testimony was briefer, but equally damaging. Blood is blood, he stated, echoing our family dinner. Natalie has done her duty, but it's time for Lily to be with Amanda. Their testimonies felt like physical blows. Each false statement, each twisted truth, another wound from the people who should have supported me. I gripped my hands in my lap, focusing on composure for Lily's sake. Amanda's attorney, an expensive-looking man, questioned me aggressively. My finances, work schedule, personal life. Is it not true you work 2 jobs to make ends meet? I work as a school nurse full-time and do telehealth consultations some evenings after Lily is asleep to build her college fund, I corrected. And you live in a 2-bedroom apartment rather than a house? Yes, in a neighborhood Lily knows well, close to her school and friends. Have you maintained any serious relationships since becoming Lily's guardian? My primary focus has been providing stability for Lily, rather than dating, I replied. The questioning was designed to make my loving, stable home seem inadequate. The suggestion that love and consistency were less important than square footage and vacation plans. When it was my turn to present evidence, the energy in the courtroom shifted. Lily's teachers testified about her academic progress, her secure attachment to me. In my 20 years of teaching, her current teacher stated firmly, I have rarely seen a parent as involved and attentive as Natalie. Lily is thriving under her care. She is confident, kind, and academically motivated. These are all signs of a child who feels secure and loved. The school counselor provided professional testimony about the potential psychological impact of removing Lily from the only stable home she'd ever known. Lily identifies Natalie as her mother in every meaningful sense of the word, she explained. Forcing a change in her primary caregiver at this stage could result in significant emotional trauma. The bond between them is profound and should not be disrupted without compelling reason. Finally, it was my turn to testify. I spoke from the heart about 10 years of mothering Lily. From those terrifying first days to the amazing 10-year-old she was now. Our routines, our traditions, our chosen family. I explained how I'd always kept the door open for Amanda, saving mementos, speaking of her positively despite her absence. I have loved Lily as my own from the moment she came into my life, I concluded, my voice steady despite the emotion. Not because she is my biological child, but because she is my child in every way that matters. I have been there for every fever, every nightmare, every school project, every scraped knee, and every triumph. I am not perfect, and I cannot offer her the material advantages that Amanda and Thomas claim they can. But I can offer her the security of knowing she is loved unconditionally by the parent who chose to be there every single day of her life. Then came the moment we had prepared for. Julia presented the sealed folder to the judge. As Judge Harriman reviewed the contents, her expression changed from neutrality to visible concern. She looked up sharply, first at Amanda and Thomas, then at my parents. Counsel approached the bench, she said. After a brief, intense discussion with the attorneys, she turned to Amanda. Miss Morgan, are you aware of the contents of this folder? Amanda shook her head, confused. No, Your Honor. It contains evidence directly contradicting several key claims in your petition, the judge continued, including documentation that your husband has been actively searching for Lily's biological father, who recently came into a substantial inheritance. A murmur ran through the courtroom. Amanda's face paled as she looked at Thomas, whose expression had hardened. Furthermore, the judge continued, there is evidence that Mr. and Mrs. Parker, she nodded toward my parents, have been in regular contact with you for approximately 3 years, directly contradicting their sworn testimony that they were unaware of your whereabouts until recently. My father shifted uncomfortably. My mother stared at her hands. Finally, there are social media posts and private messages suggesting financial motives for this custody petition, rather than the concern for Lily's well-being that has been presented to this court. The judge turned her gaze directly to my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Parker, did you knowingly provide false testimony to this court regarding your knowledge of your daughter Amanda's whereabouts? My father cleared his throat. We were trying to protect her privacy during her recovery, Your Honor. That is not what I asked, Judge Harriman said sharply. Did you knowingly make false statements under oath? We may have misremembered some details, my mother offered weakly. Perjury is a serious offense, the judge reminded them before turning to Amanda. Miss Morgan, were you aware that your husband was searching for Lily's biological father for potential financial gain? Amanda's composure cracked. Thomas handled the legal aspects. He said it would strengthen our case to have the biological father's information. And did he mention the inheritance? The judge pressed. Not specifically, Amanda said, but her evasiveness spoke volumes. Thomas leaned forward. Your Honor, if I may explain, Mr. Richards, I suggest you confer with your attorney before speaking further, Judge Harriman advised. The evidence suggests potential legal issues beyond the scope of this custody hearing. The courtroom atmosphere had transformed. Amanda's carefully orchestrated performance had unraveled into exposed lies and questionable motives. Judge Harriman called a brief recess. When court resumed, her expression was grave. Having reviewed the evidence and testimony presented today, I find several disturbing elements in the petitioner's case. What appears on the surface to be a mother seeking to reunite with her child seems, upon closer examination, to be motivated at least in part by financial considerations related to the biological father's recent inheritance. She addressed Amanda directly. Miss Morgan, while I believe you may have genuine feelings for your daughter, the timing and circumstances of your petition raise significant concerns about your motivations and judgment. The evidence suggests you have misrepresented several key facts to this court. Turning to me, her expression softened slightly. Miss Parker, the evidence clearly shows you have provided a loving, stable home for Lily throughout her life. The testimony of educational professionals and the documentation of your consistent care are compelling evidence of your commitment to her well-being. With a final look at her notes, Judge Harriman delivered her ruling. It is the finding of this court that the best interests of the minor child, Lily Morgan, are served by maintaining her current living situation with her aunt and legal guardian, Natalie Parker. The petition for change of custody is denied. The relief that flooded through me was so intense, I nearly collapsed. Julia squeezed my hand. We had won. Lily would stay with me, where she belonged. The nightmare was over. Amanda approached me as I gathered my things, her eyes red. I never wanted to hurt her, she said softly. Or you. It just got complicated. It didn't have to be, I replied, too emotionally drained for anger. You could have just been honest from the beginning about wanting to know her. She nodded, looking down. I know. Thomas thought, it doesn't matter what he thought. I should have known better. I simply nodded, unwilling to absolve her in that moment, and walked out. Toward the sunlight. Toward the freedom to continue being Lily's mother, without the shadow of uncertainty. The moment I picked up Lily from her art teacher's house. I'll never forget it. She ran to me, scanning my face anxiously. What did the judge say? Do I still get to live with you? I knelt down, taking her hands. Yes, sweetheart, I said, a tear finally escaping. The judge said you stay with me. We are still a family, just like always. Her entire body sagged with relief. She threw her arms around my neck. You promised. You crossed your heart promised, and you kept it. I will always keep my promises to you, I said, holding her tightly, breathing in the scent of her hair, finally allowing myself to feel the weight lifted from my shoulders. Always. That evening, we celebrated with pizza and ice cream. A simple feast, but it felt like the most luxurious meal imaginable. As Lily chatted excitedly, I marveled at her resilience, her capacity for joy, despite the uncertainty. The aftermath required careful navigation. I met my parents at a neutral location. How could you lie in court? I asked, no pleasantries. How could you support taking Lily away from the only home she's ever known? We thought we were doing the right thing, my father said defensively. Amanda is her mother, and I am her mother, too, I said firmly. In every way that counts. You chose Amanda over both of us, and you lied to do it. I cannot trust you around Lily. Now, that's ridiculous, my mother protested. We're her grandparents. Grandparents who were willing to traumatize her to get what you wanted, I countered. If you want to be part of Lily's life, there will be new rules. Supervised visits only. No undermining my parenting. No private conversations with Amanda about Lily. And absolutely no more lies. They balked, but I remained firm. The judge's ruling gave me the confidence to set boundaries. My parents eventually agreed, though with poor grace. Lily continued therapy, processing her feelings. Sometimes I feel like I have two moms, but also no mom, she confided during one session. Amanda is my birth mom, but she didn't want me. You want me, but Amanda says you're not my real mom. It's confusing. Family can be complicated, the therapist acknowledged. But what matters most is who loves you and takes care of you every day. That's Nana, Lily said without hesitation. She is my real mom because she chose me and stayed with me. Those words became a healing mantra for both of us. We began creating new traditions with our chosen family, the friends, neighbors, colleagues who had stood by us. Amanda's supervised visits began cautiously. Thomas stopped attending after a few sessions, his interest clearly gone once the financial motivation was removed. Amanda, however, continued to show up, gradually establishing a relationship with Lily that was more appropriate to their actual connection. She became an aunt figure, interested, caring, but not trying to replace me. With the custody issue resolved, I focused on professional advancement. I applied for and received a promotion to Health Services Coordinator for the school district. Better pay, family-friendly hours. The additional income allowed us to move to a slightly larger apartment with a small yard where Lily could plant the garden she'd always wanted. Several months later, Amanda asked to meet privately at the same cafe where we'd reconnected. Over coffee, she finally offered the apology I hadn't realized I was waiting for. I was wrong, she said simply. Not just about the custody case, but about everything. You are a better mother to Lily than I could ever have been, even if I had been healthy from the beginning. You have something special, something real. I thought biology trumped everything, but watching you together these past months has shown me what true parenting looks like. Thank you for saying that, I replied, surprised at how much her acknowledgement meant. I've ended things with Thomas, she continued. After everything came out in court, I couldn't trust him anymore. I'm focusing on my sobriety and my career, and on building a healthy relationship with Lily as her birth mother, not trying to replace you. This shift allowed us to establish a more cooperative relationship. We'd never be the close sisters we had been, but we found a workable peace as two women who cared about the same child in different ways. Lily continued to thrive, integrating the complicated reality of her family into a coherent narrative. She developed an interest in psychology, perhaps influenced by her own therapy, talking about becoming a counselor someday. On Lily's 11th birthday, after a small party with friends, she presented me with a homemade card that brought tears to my eyes. Inside she had written, "To my mom who chose me every day for 11 years. Biology makes relatives, but love makes families. Thank you for being my real mom." Looking back on our journey, from that rainy night when a 3-month-old baby appeared on my doorstep, to the confident 11-year-old standing before me, I realized the unexpected detour my life had taken had led me exactly where I was meant to be. I hadn't planned to become a mother at 24, especially not to my sister's abandoned child. But that unplanned beginning had given me the greatest gift of my life. The definition of family I'd grown up with, the one my parents still clung to, based on blood and obligation, had been replaced by a richer understanding. Family wasn't just who you were born to, but who you chose to love, and who chose to love you back, day after day, through challenges and joys alike. As Lily and I sat on our small balcony that evening, watching the sunset and talking about her dreams, I felt a sense of peace that had been missing during the turmoil of the custody battle. We had weathered the storm together and emerged stronger, our bond tested and proven unbreakable. Nana, Lily said thoughtfully, do you ever wonder what would have happened if Mom hadn't left me with you that night? Sometimes, I admit it. But then I think about all we would have missed, and I'm grateful things happened exactly as they did. She nodded, leaning her head against my shoulder. Me too. What about you? Have you ever had someone in your life who became family through love and choice, rather than biology? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I really want to know.